James Joyce is the greatest Irish novelist and this century's most influential writer. Born and bred in Dublin, he wrote most of his books while in exile in Europe. It was Joyce's obsessive fascination with Ireland, its people, and their history that was the subject matter of all his writing. The publication in Paris of Ulysses in 1922 is a landmark in literary history. Written over a 7-year period, it was revolutionary in concept and execution. Joyce made the city of Dublin the center of this comic masterpiece. Dubliners, their way of life, are celebrated in a record of a single day, June 16, 1904. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead, bearing a bowl of lather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. We are atop the gun platform of the Martello Tower at Sandy Cove, overlooking Dublin Bay. The stairhead in that opening sentence of Ulysses is the one from which I just emerged. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, the same time of day as when the book begins. My name is Patrick Ryan, and for the next half hour, I'll be taking you for a walking tour of Dublin to visit some of the places that James Joyce brought so vividly to life in Ulysses. When Ulysses opens, Buck Mulligan, a medical student, is shaving, while Stephen Dedalus, a teacher, looks on. As they talk, we sense an atmosphere of hostility between the two. Stephen is brooding, obviously pained over the death of his mother. She had asked him to kneel and pray for her, but he had refused her deathbed request. Behind the mocking banter of this opening scene, the real action takes place within the mind and conscience of Stephen. As one critic said, he's bitter and brittle, this young man, this artist, not at all unlike the young James Joyce. Buck Mulligan looked out from here, over the water, and described what he saw with these words: the snot-green sea, the scrotum-tightening sea, our great sweet mother. Ulysses often offended the polite sensibilities of the day, but the descriptions were accurate. James Joyce was determined to hold a mirror up to the Irish, no matter how uncomfortable it might make them. Regarding the book's alleged obscenity, Joyce once said, "If Ulysses isn't fit to read, life isn't fit to live."
Airs romped round him, nipping and eager airs. They are coming, waves, the white-maned seahorses champing, bright wind bridled, the steeds of Manannán.
Chapter 3 of Ulysses is located on Sandy Mount Strand, 5 miles down the coast from the Martello Tower. Into this area, this space, walks Stephen deep in thought. Joyce took a particular pleasure in the challenge of writing this section, was very proud of his achievement. Change is the theme. He said everything changes. The sea, man, animals. The words change too. My definition of time and space are good. It is a chapter full of light, color, and sensation, the stream of consciousness of Stephen's philosophic mind.
Am I walking into eternity along Sandymount Strand? Crush, crack, crick, crick. Wild sea money. He had come nearer the edge of the sea, and wet sand slapped his boots. The new air greeted him, harping in wild nerves, wind of wild air of seeds of brightness. Here, I'm not walking out to the Kish lightship, am I? He stood suddenly, his feet beginning to sink slowly in the quaking soil. Turned back.
In Chapter 4, the clock goes back in time to its starting point, around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we cross the city north of the River Liffey to meet Joyce's greatest fictional creation.
Mr. Leopold Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. He liked thick giblet soup, nutty gizzards, a stuffed roast heart, liver slices fried with crust crumbs, fried hen cod's roes. Most of all, he liked grilled mutton kidneys, which gave to his palate a fine tang of faintly scented urine.
Mr. Bloom is feeding the cat while preparing breakfast for his wife Molly. He's about to leave his home at number 7 Eccles Street, will not return until the early hours of the following morning. A Jew of Hungarian origin, he's 38 years of age and has a job collecting advertisements for a daily newspaper. As he wanders around Dublin about his business, all his actions and thoughts are recorded, so that by the end of the day, we know more about Leopold Bloom than any other character in fiction.
By lorries along Sir John Rogerson's quay, Mr. Bloom walked soberly past Windmill Lane, Leask's, the linseed crusher, the postal telegraph office. Could have given that address too. And past the sailor's home. He turned from the morning noises of the quayside and walked through Lime Street.
Arriving on Westland Row, Bloom picks up a letter at the post office. After reading the letter in the seclusion of the underpass beneath the train tracks, he enters All Hallows Church from the rear and watches Mass from the communion to the end of the service. Bloom then makes directly for Sweeney's chemist shop, where he orders a skin lotion for Molly and buys a bar of soap for 4 pence. The chapter ends with Bloom contemplating a bath at the Turkish and Warm Baths in Leinster Street. The Irish way of death is really very extraordinary. In the 6th of the 18 chapters in Ulysses, Joyce does the Irish funeral unforgettably. At about 11 o'clock, Bloom joins a small gathering that has come to bury Paddy Dignam. Dignam, who lived here at number 9 Newbridge Avenue in Sandymount, has died suddenly from a stroke.